Hey everybody, welcome back to Plugin Tut, your home for handcrafted WordPress plugin tutorials. As always, I'm your host, Matt, and today we're taking a break from page building and configuring your website, and we're really talking about opt-ins. You know, the pop-ups that you love or the pop-ups that you hate. And oh, by the way, I'm in my new studio. I think this might be the first tutorial video that I've shot so far in the studio. Still working on some lighting, some sound stuff, but we'll improve, right, as we as we move along. So make sure you subscribe and you can watch my my difficulties of getting this stuff picture perfect. But we're looking at OptinMonster specifically, as you can see in the graphic to the left of me, and we're looking at, hey, how do we capture leads in WordPress, right? Bloggers, great for professional bloggers, building a business, e-commerce sites, people who are building communities, even nonprofits. So you can email folks who come to your website and not only capture the emails, but deliver other bits of content in new and unique ways. There's a ton of different pop-ups, services, plugins, bits of code that you can put into your website. But for my dollar, I think OptinMonster is the best solution that we have for WordPress. That is also to say that there's a ton of options in OptinMonster. You can do a lot with it. I think that's what makes it so powerful, but it's also what makes it probably the most overwhelming. So, as it goes in WordPress plugin space, there's always an alternative. There's other free ones. I think if you go back and you watch my the Plugged In Radio episode, which is the podcast here, and we talked about powering up your blog, we mentioned not only OptinMonster, but another set of pop-ups that you can get for free, but they certainly won't be as powerful as OptinMonster is. And OptinMonster is no longer a plugin. There's a plugin that connects you to the service, but OptinMonster is a service that you subscribe to. And as you can see on the page right here, the pricing page, if we go to monthly, because you can get a discount if you pay up annually, you get 25% off. It's a monthly service. So for $19 a month, you can set it up on one site. You can go to unlimited amounts of opt-in forms that you want to use, and you can A/B split test those, right? So as it goes in marketing, what works in your copywriting works this month, and next month it doesn't. It's maybe seasonality in your business, the holidays, or messaging changes, customers become more aware to things, that kind of thing. So A/B testing is super important in this stuff. So it's a key feature in OptinMonster, and being able to create unlimited opt-ins, obviously not limiting you to one, but limiting you to one domain in the basic plan. I mean, for me, I have multiple properties. I need to have the pro plan. The stuff that we'll be looking at today is the pro plan of OptinMonster, okay? So you might see some features that, depending on what level you subscribe to here, if you don't have it in the pro plan, well, I don't know, you're going to have to upgrade to pro to get some of those features there. It's well worth it, especially if you simply need unlimited sites. But I don't want to spend too much time on this. I think, pound for pound, OptinMonster is the best solution, especially if you're trying some really deep marketing stuff on your website. And we'll show you that in a second here. So it's very easy to set it up. I mentioned that there is a plugin, and that's the connector plugin. And we go to your WordPress repo. We type in OptinMonster, as one does when they're looking for OptinMonster. And all I did was search for it, hit install and activate. It'll then drop you off at this API credentials page. And to connect it to your service, once you're signed up and you're in your dashboard, you get your API username and your API key, you paste it in, you hit save, you're connected, right? It pulls in all of your opt-ins that you have set up. Fairly straightforward. I'm not going to show that process just so I don't show my API and username and key for obvious reasons. But once you have that set up, the first thing you do is you come and you create an opt-in. Now, as I do with these overview videos and these beginner tutorial videos, I'll share some of my opinions. I know some of you love it, some of you hate it. But there's definitely some disconnect that happens with OptinMonster on the dashboard of OptinMonster to the dashboard of your WordPress website. And the reasoning is, my guess, is because OptinMonster doesn't have to be for WordPress. So you don't have to have a WordPress site to use OptinMonster, though it works really well with WordPress, and it was built originally in WordPress. It'll work on any site that you can drop a snippet of code in. Okay, so you'll see as we move along, there's some things that you do in WordPress and some things that you do in OptinMonster, and it could be confusing to some of you, but hey, that's why videos like this exist. You title your campaign, you connect it to your website, and then you have this wide array of opt-in types. And we'll run through them. I'm not going to run through all of them, but over time, they've improved their designs. Again, if I were to give some feedback, I wish there were some better designs, or just maybe not better, but just more of an option for designs. You can customize them to a degree. We'll take a look at that. And they're there for almost every situation. So the light box, this is the thing that pops up. This is the most common. It pops up, takes probably 25 to 30% of your screen right in the middle, and that's the one that we're most accustomed to. There's the sidebar opt-in, stuff that sits in the normal sidebar, right? So they're designed a little bit different. They're a little bit sort of thinner and longer, and you put those in a sidebar. Again, you can see that there's only 9 options here. It'd be nice to have some more. The floating bar, floating on the top, floating on the bottom, and then you have those choices. The after post and inline. So we'll take a brief look today. There's a million ways to use OptinMonster. We won't be able to get them all in today, but there's the after post and the inline, which means you can put it right in the inline of your content. Pretty cool stuff. The slide in, this is the one that comes up from the bottom right. You can't see my hand over there. This is the one that comes up from the bottom right, and you can configure that with the OptinMonster settings. Mobile, this is one that is specifically for mobile. So iPads, iPhones, tablets, Androids, that kind of thing. And then full screen, this is the full screen takeover. This is the one that takes up the full screen so that you can't continue until you either say yes or no or close it, that kind of thing. Okay, so once you select it, you'll be dropped into this configuration screen. And they've definitely made strides of improvement over time. I think it's a great new interface that they have for sure. It used to be kind of slow, and what I want to do is I'm just pulling up on the right-hand side. You can't see it yet, but it is the example site I have set up because I just want to demo what this pop-up looks like. It should come up here in a second. It's not working. That's okay. So basically what we have here is the customizer, right? The customizer for our pop-ups. Now, I talked about it before. There could be better themes, and they're always working on new themes, that's for sure. But finding a theme that goes across the entire website. And what I mean by that is, so if we're looking here, like this Metro theme, right? This is the one I'm going to demonstrate today. So you can see that look and feel, sort of that darker gray with yellow. In the sidebar theme, there's one. In the floating bar, there's another one. So a lot of their newer themes carry over to all the different opt-in types. But some of their older ones, or you might find one in here that you do like, and it might not have a floating bar option if that's important to you. It might not have a mobile option if that's important to you. So you just, one of those things you want to plan ahead for is sort of that consistency, that branding consistency, what it looks like after the post, what the pop-up looks like. And you can design it with some custom CSS, but that's really for the more advanced person or somebody who, has some CSS chops, that kind of thing, that can really, figure this stuff out without, having to worry about it, kind of thing. Okay. But you can do things like remove these images and replace these images. You can come in here and say, this is my amazing offer, right? So you get to really be immersed in what this looks like. And I really like this. Back in the day, you would only edit it in the little fields, and you sort of had to do, the guesswork, save it, refresh it. This is a lot more dynamic, a lot more immersive. You can change the font text, styling, and that kind of thing. So you can really make it your own. What you can't do is remove these images. And I don't want to do it here because I just want this to keep looking good during this tutorial. But if you remove these items, the customizer, lack of a better word, doesn't respond to it. So if I were to remove these graphics, this big space will still be here, right? So if I remove that and this is gray and that's gray, you know what? I'll just do it. The heck with it. We'll remove it. So the placeholders are here, but see, the text doesn't go up, right? So I'm hitting backspace right now. I can't make this text go up to take the space to, shrink the height of this opt-in. That bugs me a little bit because you always have to find a graphic to kind of fit the space. If not, it looks a little off, but totally up to you. Pick a different theme. You can always go back and pick a different theme if you want. Okay. So cookie duration. I'm not going to go through all of these. One of the best things that OptinMonster does in the dashboard is whenever you have a question, like what is cookie duration? The number of days before the opt-in will display again once the user exits your campaign. Change to 0 to prevent cookies from being set. Okay. So somebody comes to your website, they X out on your pop-up. It'll be 30 days until they'll see this pop up again. Okay. 365 days, whole year, if they opted in and you capture their email, they won't see this pop up for another year. So you can modify that stuff, right? And again, I'm not going to explain every feature. I might go through every option here, but I'm not going to explain what each one does in detail. But again, if you're in here and you hover over all of the help question marks and then take these tours, they do a phenomenal job. Syed and his team really understand that there's a lot of beginners using this, a lot of small business owners that don't understand all of this stuff. So you can always hover over and get some help when you need it, right? Explain a little bit more. Display the powered by link on and off. I think most people turn it off. It's one of their promotional ways of showing OptinMonster, but you can turn that off if you don't want that to be seen. The opt-in itself, again, it's always going to show you what theme you're going to be in. You can go back and switch themes if you want at any time. You can't switch the type. So you're always going to be editing if this is the Lightbox one. You can't switch the type from here. Once you set it, you'll always be working on whatever type you're working on, but you can always go back and switch the theme, if that makes sense. Display the name field. Sometimes you don't want to capture the name, right? Oftentimes the idea for a pop-up is get it as fast as you can. Don't belabor it. Get the customer to give you the email address as fast as possible. But if you want to capture the name, if it's important to you, enable the name field. It's that easy. And you can see that each element, as we scroll down here, has the color, right, of the placeholder text. So for example, let's say I wanted that name to be red, just to make it super annoying. You could switch the name color here. Probably not adjusting here. Let me just hit save. I'm sure. Oh, there it is. So you can see when I put the cursor in there that the text will be red as they type it in. So once the person starts typing that will turn red. That's what the color field is here for. The name font, you can select from all of these web safe fonts there. So you can really start to customize what the look and feel is for the visual effect of the text, of the background, of the images, of the sign up button. Again, so submit background color. Maybe you want this to be red. That you'll see. There you go. So you can kind of see I can change this and that'll update. So you're matching the theme to your maybe brand colors, website colors, that kind of thing. And you can keep going through all of this stuff to customize that. Privacy statement. Again, if you wanted to leave a little subtext that says, for instance, here, the default message, we promise not to use your email for spam. You can turn that on and off. And close button color, background color, all the design fields. And before, this is what I said before. If you wanted to write your own HTML, CSS, to design things in a certain way, maybe make up for this space right here, you can drop custom styles in. Again, you have to be a little bit of a front-end designer. You have to have some chops with that. Let's move on to the next section. The enable yes and no button. Not every theme has this available, to my understanding, but if we turn it on, you can see that it changes that opt-in a little bit. So it's one of those yes or no scenarios where they say, yes, I want this amazing offer, or no thanks. So you notice that I'll disable that. You see the little close button disappears when we enable this, which means that, the only way to close this opt-in is to say no thanks. But you can actually switch the theme of the yes, no feature, which this is where things get really powerful and really customizable. So let's say I want to use this one. I hit OK. So now you're taken to specific yes, no themes, okay? Which is, I think, really powerful in terms of how we want to deliver the yes, no content to our provider, to our customers, and really gives you a lot of sort of flexibility in that. But I'm going to switch back to this one because obviously this is built into the Metro theme. So let's continue on. You can overwrite what that says, what the yes text says, what the yes action says. And when you opt in, let me just switch it to this. When you opt in, first I'll show you this. Sorry. When you opt in, the yes action is pretty powerful. And this is what I can't find in many WordPress plugins, is I can redirect to a new page. I can show an opt-in form, which is, yes, I want this. And what the opt-in form will be is the email address, right? You can redirect to a new page. You can close the opt-in and reload the page, which you can do different things within that page. So it might just be, showing a video or showing a piece of content, that kind of thing, or close the opt-in altogether. You can also disable the no button. So if you wanted to just say, yes, I want access, and then make that action happen, you can do that. You can see the little close button comes back into play. So what is the success of that? What happens after somebody finally says, yes, I want to drop in the theme? Well, you can display the success theme. And again, as we dive deeper into the customization of OptinMonster, it becomes really powerful. So I can switch themes of the success theme. So I could show a thank you video. So I could record myself saying, thank you for subscribing, and display them a video that they're playing, or bring that to another offer, right? So you start to see that things can become quite customizable, quite extensible. So I'm going to switch back to, you can show this Facebook logo, Facebook like page. So you could increase likes to your Facebook page as well. So you got the email, and oh, by the way, we have a Facebook page. Don't forget to go over there and hit like. So pretty darn powerful stuff. I'm going to switch back to that. Display rules. As we move along, again, if you're still with me, there's a lot here. And I'm just going to highlight these because in future videos, we'll do some trickier stuff. But by default, what we're saying is after X amount of seconds. So is this active? Yes, it's active. Show when the time on the page is at least 5 seconds. So if the person's on the page for at least 5 seconds, the pop-up will show up. And we'll activate this across any page. Those are the two default ones. So if you're on any page of my website or my blog for 5 seconds, this pop-up will come up. Okay. But what about if you didn't want to show this campaign based on time, but you wanted to do it on exit intent? So exit intent will be as the user starts to hover over the exit of the window, you can then say that, then you can then make it pop up, right? So and then you can set the sensitivity. So as it gets closer from a distance, it'll be sort of medium by default, and then it'll pop up. If it's super sensitive, it'll come up maybe as soon as they start to get closer to that X. So exit intent is another powerful thing, because you can have a pop-up that comes up and says, join our newsletter and save 10% off, and they close it. You can have another exit. Then you can have an exit intent come up, which probably could be overwhelming for users. But as you grow and say, wait, I'll give you 15% if you stay, you could do something like that. Probably don't want to do that. It's probably fairly aggressive, but something you could do. After scrolling down X amount. So again, forget the time, forget the exit intent. As the user scrolls, you know that they're reading, especially if you do a lot of long form content, you know that by the time they get down to 50% of the screen, then the pop-up comes up, right? And again, this is all conditional stuff. You can go pixels, percentage is at least or no more than, and there's so many different. So again, back to the exit or pop-up after X amount of seconds, you can add conditions, show when time on page is or time on site is at least or no more than, and when and you start mixing and matching this stuff up, it becomes pretty powerful. The monster link. This is super cool, okay? I think this is where, as pop-ups become so ubiquitous and everybody's used to them, we can activate a piece of code that we can put into our content. And when they click that, the pop-up comes up. I'm going to show that in a little bit, okay? So I don't want to spend too much time on that. Based on the visitor's date or time. So act now and order between, or time's running out. You have until 3 p.m. to get our special offer if you go to our website. So let's say you're doing some traditional advertising on the radio or newspaper, that kind of thing. You can have this stuff trigger based on time and then offer up different campaigns based on the time. Is it midnight? And wherever this person is, and depending on what let's say you're selling pillows and it's midnight, you could say, shouldn't you be sleeping right now? And wouldn't it be great on these awesome pillows? Learn more, and have this pop-up come up. You can do some pretty crazy things with that. When should you see the campaign? Well, again, so many options here. Visitor browsing specific pages, we can do that. Visitor has viewed X amount of pages, we can do that. Visitor has interacted with a campaign. So if they've already opted into one campaign, do we show them another campaign that has a better offer or different piece of information? That's very powerful. Visitors from a specific traffic source. So if you have people coming from Facebook and you want to say, hey, Facebook fan, thanks for checking out our site. And just for you, we have this. Visitors with a specific URL parameter. This is definitely something that, if you're getting referred by another part of the site or another website that's in a network, that kind of thing. Visitors with a specific cookie. This becomes very developer-centric. And then visitors with specific URL anchor tag. You can do all of these different things with OptinMonster. Actually, one thing I do want to show that I forgot to show before we move along, display effects. So specifically on the Lightbox template or theme of your opt-in, you have all these different effects. So just to make it a little bit more engaging, you could just say no effect by default and it just pops up and you see it. Or you can do bounce and you see the little bounce there. You do flash. It does that little flash. Pulse. Rubber band. Shake. Swing, which might be my more favorite one. Ta-da. Wobble. That one's really aggressive. Bounce in. Bounce in down. You get the idea. Bounce in up. I'm not going to do that. Flip. That's pretty cool. Flip down. Pretty cool. Flip side. And slide in. And roll in. That one's pretty cool. So you can do all these different types of animations which help sort of draw the attention to the particular pop-up. Email providers. So for right now, anyway, OptinMonster its main purpose is to capture emails, right? I have a feeling they'll do other things in the future, but for right now, it's for capturing emails. So where do those emails go? Here's your selection, right? And you can probably find more if we go to their website. Let's see if I can just quickly find it. No. So features, testimonials, they don't have a direct integration, one-click integration, 19 integrations. So you can see all of the integrations right here. MailChimp, Aweber, Infusionsoft, GetResponse, Constant Contact, Campaign Monitor, MailPoet, MadMimi, iContact, FeedBlitz, HubSpot, ActiveCampaign, Sendinblue, Pardot, Customer.io, Emma, TotalSend, Mailer, Marketo, and more coming, right? So Drip, I think, is actually already integrated in here. I think if I go to the back end, yeah, Drip. So even on the front end of the website, it doesn't have all of them. So you get all of these things here. I think for most folks, it's going to be Constant Contact, MailChimp, Drip. Those are the most popular, at least in my circles. And then the analytics. This basically sets right up to your Google Analytics, and it leverages Google Analytics to show you stats. That's one thing I really wish that they tracked, just some basic stats for conversions, and it didn't have to be tied to Google Analytics all the time. I think most people are using Google Analytics, so it's not a big deal, but I'd like to see it not have to be tied into Google Analytics just for the basic stuff. Sometimes it's just a pain in the neck to go ahead and set everything up and pull that stuff into Google Analytics. All right. So before we go into how we set that stuff up in WordPress, you'll see here that this is the sidebar campaign where it's just pulling in that widget and somebody can just quickly drop in their email here. I don't know if I actually have it active. Oh, I know why, because I shut that off, right? So if we go to integrations, nope, display rules, after X amount of seconds, and did I leave it on show on any page? I disabled that. So save any page, so save. So now I'm making the change here, and it should be updating my localhost. Now it might not because I'm on localhost. So there could be an issue with that. In fact, there probably is. So one cool thing is if you ever get into an issue, I can always clear the local cookies and then come back, refresh. And now we should see it pop up. Probably not going to pop up because I closed it before, and on my local host, it's probably not communicating to that. But if it were a live site and it could reach and communicate through the internet, we'd see that working quite well. So you can see here that it pulls in all your pop-ups, or excuse me, all your opt-ins, and you have to activate them. And that's what I was mentioning before is a little weird because like you make it live here and then you also make it live here. And then in the output settings, in the WordPress site, you have these options here that say show opt-in to all visitors and users, only to visitors, people who are not logged in, show opt-in to only users. So, and then there's advanced settings where you can say never load on this page or load specifically on this page. It's great because you can really drill down and get specific, but it also leaves you thinking like, gee, why don't you do it here in the back end? So there are some settings that you always need to sort of check on. But you can see here that I activated the after post in the sidebar, and the sidebar works, the sidebar works with widgets. So I come in, I drop in the tutorial widget, and that drops it in right here, and it'll load right in my sidebar, and then I can just drag and drop, these OptinMonster widgets anywhere and just select the opt-in that I want to load. The after post will load automatically with WordPress. So if we go to visit the site and we go to a blog post, that's the widget one. If we go to blog post, we go to Hello World, and there is the after post one. Okay. Oh, and there is my amazing offer that just slid right in because I didn't close it out on this browser. So you can see this is the opt-in coming in, and it slid in, which was actually pretty cool without the graphics. And I take back what I said before. So actually, the design did take out the space. It just doesn't do it in the editor, which again, I've always kept the graphics in place, but it did account for me removing that. So I'll have to just edit that in the video and go back and mention that. But here's my amazing offer. Yes, I want access, and I don't have any rules after that in this one. So that's why nothing happened. But you can see sidebar, pop up, after post, show up here. And then there's this one. This is the opt-in or the monster link. I disabled it, right? So let me go back into the, I can go over here and do it if I can remember. OptinMonster. Edit output settings. That's not the one. We can go back. Edit output settings on tutorial 2. That's the widgets. Oh, no, I disabled it again. That's right. So sorry, people. I try to do this stuff without editing. So I leave it all in because if I edit stuff, it takes forever. So I apologize. You have to see me scrolling around. So we go to the monster link. We activate it. We save it. And we copy this monster code. And if I go back into posts, all posts, edit. Nope, that's the scheduled post. We're not going to see that. Hello world. I'm just going to delete this one that's already here and drop this in. Update. I'm also going to clear cookies for good measure. visit the site, hello world, and click me. Boom. There's our opt-in. Okay. So the monster link is this inline offer, right? So you could be writing a blog post, and if you don't want to show any of these pop-ups that come up, and forcefully get that message out, or, have it below the post like everybody does, me included, you could use these monster links to really write an engaging call to action and an engaging message. Click that, and that'll bring up this pop-up and let somebody opt into it. Okay? So that's really powerful. You can really start to see like the success message. So here's another example. If we go to the success page and we switch to theme, and we had this video. Save. Go back here. Let's see how fast this actually updates. Click me. Yes, I want access. I probably didn't set that the right way. Display the success theme. Yes, no. What does this want to do? Choose action. Close the opt-in. Show an opt-in form. Save. Maybe it doesn't work maybe it won't work with yes and that. Yes, I want access. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna have to opt in, and then once I opt in, then it'll show that video. But you can see that, let's just see, Joe, and hey, there's my red text from before, joe@plugintut.com. No email provider, so I haven't set up the campaign. But once I set up the campaign, then it would show that video, right? So you can think about how you can kind of stack these things and do some pretty powerful stuff in the inline content of your blog post or your page. It's pretty amazing stuff. As we go further, we're going to show different areas of setting up sidebars and different after post things, and really drilling down with the monster links. And you can do some gated content stuff. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we can show you with OptinMonster. But that's my overview. Again, I think it's one of the most powerful, not just pop-up builders, but you start getting into the marketing automation. You start getting into sort of creative marketing and user engagement. There's so many things that you can do with OptinMonster. Again, lots of features. It's going to cost you some money, but the stuff that you can do with it is pretty powerful. That's not available in any other free plugin that I know of for sure, and really competes at the top level against some pretty big sort of enterprise level SaaS marketing tools, that kind of thing. So that's it in a nutshell. Hope you enjoyed this video. There's a lot here. Some of the stuff was done live and unedited, so I do hope that you enjoyed it. If you do enjoy it, give it the old thumbs up, share it with friends and family. Helps us get found on YouTube. Leave a comment below if you want to see more of this stuff, and let me know what's going on in your WordPress world. Plugintut.com. Watch us almost every week with Plugged In Radio, where we cover some live WordPress topics, news, how-tos, tutorials, that kind of stuff. Just become a fan and really help us get found, and I really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.